Alec, not Alex, Alec, talk to me about persuasion documents.
Persuasion documents come about through the particular industry that we're in, and that really what we're all about is in design is making that sort of compelling argument on your behalf to somebody else, either to purchase a service or convince somebody to do something that you want them to do. It started off, of course, with the whole area of marketing. We moved it into a particular area called bid support, which was very important, and it helped a lot of companies win tenders and contracts.
And now you've moved it into banking.
The bank. The bank is the more interesting example. My own background is banking, and really I say to anybody who sees this, please don't blame me. I'm out of it a long time. I understood.
There's no excuse.
It's okay. I carry the scar to my grave. But I did realise that the whole area of banking has changed quite significantly over the last number of years. I think most business owners will associate the whole idea that if you had an existing facility or maybe needed a top-up of a facility, you kind of got on the phone, you rang them up and you'd say, hey John, or whoever it is, hey, this is Alec here, I'm looking for a top-up, I'm looking at this. And generally the conversation went around, sure, we know you've been banking with us for years, I can do this, I can do that. Or if there's an issue, come in, let's talk about it, I'll show you how to put the application. And they kind of worked hand in hand for the most part. I know a lot of SMEs maybe not associate this because they didn't have a longer relationship with managers, but that's generally how it worked. The real concern has been over the last couple of years, we all know what's happening out there in terms of funding being available.
Yeah.
But more importantly, staff are being moved around. So there's a fair chance that you actually will not know the person you're meeting.
Yeah.
And that presents a real problem for you. Because a lot of people have an understanding of the business that they are running, but they have it in their head, don't have it in a document form. I mean, they say they have a corporate brochure, but that really does not tell the full story.
Yeah.
And then they go in and they have the figures from their accountants and they have the story somewhat in their head, and they'll meet somebody they don't really know. And then they'll try to convey the story, they'll be asked questions, they'll produce some financials, and then they're dependent on all of that coming together into a concrete proposal that will go to a regional office for approval. In many cases it's probably not even getting outside the branch, and they will be told that. But that's the reality of what's happening. What the banks are particularly interested in is they want to know the business you're in, how long you've been in it, who you are, any particular interesting pieces that have happened in your business over how many years. They actually particularly want to know what happened in the last year and highlights and lowlights and how you dealt with those particular situations. They're also interested in the plans you have for the coming 12 months or 18 months or 24 months, depending on what sort of facilities you're looking for, and how you're going to deal with that. Let's say it goes wrong, how are you then going to deal with that? And let's say even that goes wrong, how are you going to deal with that? So they need a certain amount of convincing. What we've done is we've put together our service, which is our persuasion service. We're bringing in bankers who've only retired recently, but have been in the front end of lending and understand the requirements of various banks. And what we're saying is, we'll put together that document with you, we'll work with your accountants, but we'll extract the figures out and present the whole case in a way that makes a compelling argument for you. Also, it shows the banks that you understand the type of business they're in and how they're viewing the figures.
So it's not only for the frontline manager, but it's also for the credit guys and
that's
the head
right.
office, that they both can use the same documents.
Yeah, the whole idea would be that you could present 2 or 3 copies of this document to your branch manager or assistant manager, whoever you're talking to. And literally, rather than him having to fill in an inordinate amount of forms, he could literally pass this document up to the next level. And all of the information will be there and laid out. Typically what happens is when you send in your accounts and your various pieces of information, they're sent to a regional office who then have to extract figures out that they're particularly looking for. We're saying we'll do all that for you. And I think more importantly, which would be nice too, a lot of businessmen are fearful of the sort of interviews that they're going to get, grilling I think in real sense, and trying to hide figures and trying to come up with convoluted stories. We will put you through that interview scenario before you go and have the real scenario. And you can be asked all the awkward questions. And I suppose it's a bit like an interview going for a job. If you're prepared and you've been through it once, you know what to expect. And so therefore, half the anxiety is now removed from it. So what we're saying is that bank support from Baseline might be a service that could help you save your future.